Hi guys, welcome to Seco Hub. Today we're going to be discussing about access control list, right? What is access control list? Why do we use it? Why do we need it? And how do we implement it, right? So the whole WH family questions, we're going to take care of that, right? So the first question is, what is access control list, right? So access control list, basically before going to the definition, just imagine you have basically you belong to this area, right? Let's just say this is area X, right? And in order to go to area Y, right, you have a gate in between, right? Right? This is the gate in between, right? And here at the gate itself, you will have a guard, right? And basically your guard will check if you have the ID card or not, right? If you have that ID card, only then it'll let you in. If not, it will basically block you right there, right? So this is the not typical scenario while you're going to the office or anywhere else, basically, right? Right. Even if you get into any housing society, they'll first check if you're allowed there or not, right? So if you're allowed through your application or through any informal call or anything as such, right? Only then you'll be allowed to let in, right? So this gate, right? This gate, what is this gate? This gate will be your security device, right? Slash firewall, right? And what is the guard here? Your guard is the ACL. Just understand this and you're done. Right? So the gate is basically a security device or a firewall, right? Any security device, even VPN solutions or even routers have this, right? Any security device, and guard is your ACL. So if the guard lets you in, right, you're in. And what is your criteria to basically get in is your pass, right? This pass is your criteria. So that is again the ACL criteria. ACL pass criteria, you can say. Right? Simple as that. That's it. Right? If you understand this concept, then everything else is just smooth. Right? So let's just rub this off. Right? And for simplification, right, throughout this journey of navigating ACL, we'll just for simplification, we'll write it right here that your gate is your firewall. Right? Let me just do this. Gate. What did we have next? We have your guard. What did we have next? We have your is pass, right? Right. What was your gate? Gate was your firewall. Guard was your ACL. Pass was your pass fail criteria, right? Let's just say ID. Cool. Now let's proceed. So basically, now if this since we have this in order, right? What we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll see the definition of what exactly an ACL is. So ACL, the full form would be access control list, right? Access control list. Like you're going from X to Y, guard is in between, he checks your access, right? As per the control criteria they have, and then they let you in. So yes, it's self-explanatory, right? That access control list stands for ACL, right? And so now let's go to the definition. Access control lists are a set of rules used to filter network traffic. They are implemented in network devices like routers, switches to control the switch, to control the flow of data packets based on specific criteria. Right? These can be employed in both, but mostly you will see this in firewalls. Right? Let's add this here as well. Now let's see how the ACL works. Right? You always have to remember this part. Right? This is non-negotiable. So in order to understand what ACL is, this is non-negotiable. So now you have how ACLs work, right? First is packet inspection. Now yeah, basic going towards the network side, right? Second is rule matching, third is action. So now when we say that when a packet enters a network device, the ACL rules are applied to it. So for simple example, first we'll go to the, just like we discussed, the gate criteria, right? Gate and guard. Now let's come back to the network part. So imagine you're sitting at this computer, right? You're trying to access YouTube, right? And from you shoot a packet, right? In order to make a connection, TCP connection with the server, which is sitting in the backend right here, right? And you go to your default gateway, and this is a firewall at this, which is your default gateway, right? So now your packet has to traverse through the firewall, right? Which has an ACL on it, right? So it has an ACL on it. Now how will it traverse, right? What will happen on the firewall itself? It will check the ACL. So by ACL, I mean it will check if this specific device is allowed to access this. So it will check if this source, right, 192.168.1.1 is access to, is it, supposed to access YouTube or not. So YouTube, just let's just imagine it's 2.2.2.2. Simple, right? Source and destination, right? So what it'll do is it'll check the ACL table it has. So ACL table we will have to add manually, right? There are n number of ways to add it. Some of the devices you'll add it via the CLI, some of the devices will add it via UI, right? So in the ACL table, let's just put it here, right? Source IP, destination IP, right? Action. So first rule we have 192, right? Should I make it bigger, or let me just do this, right? So we say that 192.168.1.1 is the source, and destination I'm saying 0.0.0.0, any, that means any, right? Or let's just type any, right? In terms of firewall, we write 0.0.0.0, any, and then action is set to allow. So it will check this rule, right? And then it'll see, okay, this is the source. Ideally, how we put the source IP or destination IP, right? Either we put as any, or we put a specific subnet. So in this case, what I will do is I will come here, right? And I will add 192.168.1.0, right? So any of the devices, right? Yeah, for this case, let's just put as one, right? So I'll just put it as one. Okay, 192.168.1.1. So uh, what will happen in this case is basically, let me just make it a bit clear, right? 192.168.1.1 allow. So it'll check the ACL, it'll let it pass. What it'll say is that it matches the criteria, pass, and then according to the firewall, according to the stateful, stateless firewall, whatever it is, it'll make your table. Right, if it's stateful firewall, it'll make six tuples table, right? Just like we discussed last time, it'll make sure to put in the all the details, right? And then when the traffic comes back, it will make sure to pass it, right? Again, it depends on the ACL, if it's unidirectional or bidirectional, right? But most of the firewall these days will have bidirectional ACL, because in order to make a session, because what it'll do is it'll also mark a session, right? Once it goes, it'll mark a session here, it'll map it with the session ID, and mark it against that session table as well. And once the packet traverses back, it will match it with the session, and then it'll let it pass. Right? Simple. Now, to make it simple, another criteria. Right? Let's just rub this thing off. Right now, at the same time, this guy, this dude is basically trying to access the same thing. Right? This guy, let's say 1.2. Right? 1.2 is trying to access the same thing, right? And for this, we have a different policy, right? We say any 192.168.1.2 deny. Ideally, this will not be the case, that we will not let him access anything through the gateway, But yeah, just for this, we are saying that we'll not let him access, this particular, basically we'll not let him access anything out of the network. All the traffic from here is supposed to be inside, right? So again, the same packet comes here. It's checked against the ACL. What do we say? Deny. So denied, right? Again, for this, it will mark it as log. Logging will definitely be there, right? Logging says that, traffic from 192.168.1.2 matched against ACL 6, if this is 6, for example, right? Matched again ACL against ACL 6, and it is dropped. Got it? Simple funda, like not too much. Simple, right? It's just ACL is pure logical, right? If you're up for logic, then ACL is not that difficult to understand, right? So now we have different kinds of ACL, right? This was a simple ACL, right? Now we have different kinds of ACL, right? Now what are the types of ACLs, right? Now if we have to understand a bit of ACL, right? We'll say what kinds of ACL do we have. So first one we have is a standard type of ACL, right? Standard ACL is basically, it'll filter, traffic based on the source IP address only, right? So for example, if you're trying to access something here, right, it doesn't matter what the destination is. So the ACL is applied that, source 192.168.1.1 allow. It'll just let you access anything, right? Right. Basically used for basic filtering such as blocking traffic from specific sites. So in this case, usually this one we'll map it, when the traffic is coming in, not from outside. Like uh, what it will do is basically if you have a specific server right here, if I have a specific server connected here and I make sure that this is 2.2.2.2, same criteria that I've said, my ACL is, the standard ACL is source IP, destination IP. In this one, what I'll do is, rather than marking the table, let me just explain it simply. That in this ACL, this is my gateway, right? In this ACL, what I've marked is, traffic from 2.2.2.2 ACL 2.2.2.2 allow, right? So only traffic coming from here inside is allowed. Rest of the traffic, if it comes from here or any other IP address, this is 100, this is 200, for example, it will not let it go through. Simple. This is pretty simple. This was conventional. We really don't use this, much these days. What we prefer is we use extended ACLs. Extended ACLs, which basically will give you more granular approach, wherein you can basically, segregate or pass, allow, block, right? All those traffic based on very granular things like, you know, your TCP states basically, or specific zones, right? And there are certain other factors as well, like if basically let's just say zones, basically then we can say TCP states, right? All these criterias, right? Protocol type, right? Yeah, all this plus we have a lot of things like other criterias basically on it, like application filtering and all of that. You can apply these to the ACLs as well, right? In the end, it'll get mapped just to the ACL. So yeah, again, we will have a separate session on that, just giving you guys an overview. So what is extended ACL? Extended ACL basically has filtering based on multiple criteria. Source IP address, destination IP address, right? Source, destination, port numbers, protocol type. Like I said, more used for more granular control. So let's discuss this one first, and then I will take you to a very detailed scenario where you'll understand what the extended ACL is better, right? So simple example is, while you configure this on a CLI, just to be clear, multiple, what do you call, devices, network devices or security devices can have multiple or basically different sort of commands, right? So this again is a CLI. It says that access list 100, right? This is the ACL number. Permit TCP. So protocol is TCP, right? Any host, right? And IP address, right? Equal 22, right? So from this we understand that, right? This ACL rule will basically allow only TCP traffic, right? So TCP traffic, right, from any source, from any IP, we'll say, from any IP, right, to destination IP address 192.168.1.1, right, is allowed. Right, let me just is allowed, right, again on port 22. And what is port 22 again? It's SSH, right? Got it? Simple. Now, uh, so this was one way of writing. You can also configure it via UI. Now let's come to how the extended ACLs actually work, right? We'll take all of this into consideration and then we'll see. We'll create a table, right? ACL table. This is your standard extended ACL table, right? So, right now we'll say that source IP, destination IP, protocol, zone, right? And then you have, port number. This is protocol, this is port, right? So we say that, for ACL, we say that source IP is 50.1.1.1, destination IP is 192.168.1.0, right? Protocol that I am basically allowing, for it to access basically would be if, for example, if I have a server here, right? I have a server here. It's like an web server, right? So protocol is HTTPS, right? Zone from zone to zone is there, right? So for now, I'm saying I'll just add here from zone. This is external. This is internal. From zone external to zone internal, right? And it should work on port 443 only. Got it? So now let's see. So we have traffic generating from here, right? Basically traverse the firewall, it comes here, it checks source IP match 50, destination IP, okay, I have it, right? Okay, fine. And the criteria is pass. Okay. Port protocol is HTTPS. Yes, it has HTTPS packet. That is what it's using. From zone external to internal. Yes. Port is 443. Yes. So it is passed. Right. Now again in the similar scenario, again we have a different packet. Right. Now I'm trying to SSH right on port 22. Packet comes here. Source is fine. Destination is fine. Port SSH. Oh, I'm not using it. Blocked. Right, zone is fine. Port again, no. 22 it's using. I need 443. So it will block your packet then and there, right? But ideally, there is another thing you will need to understand that based on trust, right, of zones, what happens is, like I told you previously, you can basically click on the I button to refresh it, right? We did discuss about the, in the firewall video, we did discuss that the trust factor or trust in two zones will be different, right? For internal zone, we have a trust of 100. For external, we have a trust of 0. We don't trust it, right? So it's 0. So what happens via diffusion? We go from high to low, right? So ideally, from here to here, by default, it should be on in various firewalls, right? Ideally. Some of them don't have it, right? But ideally, it is on, right? So this is by default allowed. So from 0 to 100, it's default blocked, right? So extended ACLs, all these factors, standard ACLs, just the source IP. Right, so this offers a better approach, right? Nowadays, I don't think a lot of people use it. Extended ACLs, yes, we use it because we can, monitor traffic based on n number of things rather than just the source IP address. So again, it will be again to and fro. We discussed two criteria where packet is coming from out, out to in. Then again from in to out, we will have the same criteria that only the IP will change. 192 and 50 will come here, right? Those addresses. And again, if I'm using SSH, which is allowed, and I'm using an HTTPS packet here, so if it's not there in the ACL, it's blocked. So by default, another thing network engineers will need to remember that if you have not created an ACL, right, by default, you will see an ACL in the end. In the end, basically, it will be lowest in priority, which will tell you that by default your traffic is blocked. Most of the ACLs will have that. By default, your traffic to certain, ports or protocols will be blocked, right? Again, one more thing to consider for you guys would be that how is the priority maintained in ACLs, right? Consider I have two ACLs, right? You can do that. We can have a number of ACLs. One ACL we have one and two. One is saying for 192 series from source to 50 series IP addresses, right? 192.168.1.1 to 50, dot 1.1.1. Uh, Let me just make it a bit clear so you guys can understand and read it as well. So I'm saying this is ACL1, right? Source IP 192.168.1.1, destination IP 50.1.1.1, right? From this to this, right? For port, right? I'm saying I have 443, right? Criteria allowed, right? Action, action is allowed, right? And the second policy I have is from any to any, right? For 4443, it's denied. It will match both, right? I'm using both. If I'm sending a packet from 190 to 168.1.1 to 50.1.1.1 with 443, it will match both. But which one it will take? The one at the top. So priority goes like this. It will try to match from top to bottom, and whatever it matches, it will let it go through, right? So once you read the logs, you will see that it has matched both. But then you also need to check which one matched first. So priority will always be from 1 to high. So if you want this one to match, you have to take it up. You have to, click on it and make sure you take it up or increase the priority of that. That's it. That's all there is to the basics of ACL. In the next section, what we'll do is we'll try to use basically any one firewall, create an ACL, and it'll show you how basically, traffic flows and how it is blocked. Plus, let's see a bit of logging part as well, right? Thank you for today's session. Thank you.